But I want to focus in today on the spiritual life aspect and how there may be things that you need to walk in spiritually, changes that you need to make, accountability that you need to have, spiritual standards that you understand that maybe someone else can skirt around and get by with it, but you know what is required of you. But what the thing is that is required of you, other people might feel like, now you know what, you don't even have to do all of that. You just doing too much. Where did you get that from? When you know it's what's required of you spiritually. In that regard, beyond anything else that could have come to your mind when I said do too much, whether it is your appearance, your personality, your daily routine, it might just seem like, you know what, you just don't have to do all of that to other people. But you know what is required of you to live your best life. Don't forget about the spiritual aspects. And I share a little bit in another one of the weekly videos about how, we can't make a doctrine out of personal convictions. But I also said in that video, also don't excuse yourself and compromise from things that very much should be your personal life doctrine when it comes to your spiritual life. If you know that there are things that are required of you by the Lord for your spiritual life to flourish and for you to be in good, strong standing in relationship with God. Um, Things that are not necessarily about your salvation. They're definitely not about your worth. They're not about you doing too much and trying to earn and being good enough for God. No. But there are some things where God is calling you to a particular standard. And to everyone around you, it might be doing too much. And sometimes with those things, never at all to hide or shrink back or cower, but you begin to gain wisdom, knowledge, and understanding and discern how you need to move when it comes to certain things. Sometimes it doesn't require for you to say a whole lot. Sometimes it just requires for you to obey and speak on those things when it is expedient for you to do that. Um, but at the end of the day, only you know. You have to get an understanding of when it is really, a requirement spiritually for you to move a particular way, in a way that you may not be able to create a doctrine out of certain things for other people. Now, sometimes there are things that the Lord allows us to have spiritual insight with, and they are very biblical, very sound when it comes to doctrinally, but because it is not the status quo or what is common in your culture, most people would say you're doing too much. But I say to you, even in those things, don't shrink back from what God is calling you to do. Don't shrink back from the standard where you have been called to step up and rise up and meet that standard, because other people say like, you don't got to do that. Ain't you can Well, sometimes people are more influenced by culture than what is actually going to purify and bring some fidelity to their relationship with God. If there are things that you need to do in order to walk in that kind of fidelity, I encourage you to do it. I'm not saying for you to be fanatical in any way, but when it comes to your obedience to God, it might sound and look fanatical to other people. Oftentimes until they come up on that thing and the Lord lights a fire in their heart about it, and then suddenly you're not so fanatical because they are in that place. We have to allow people to have their own individual walk with God, but at the same time, you can't let nobody make you feel away or make you feel bad about the steps that you take to obey God, because they're not willing to do it. Because there's certain things that each of us feel strongly convicted about that ain't nobody finna shake us on it. And so don't you let somebody who feels very strongly convicted about certain things come and tell you, or you don't have to do thus and such. You don't have to do all of that. Now, if you're putting yourself in danger or others, well, that's a whole nother conversation. We need to talk about like what is happening, what is going on. But if you are making moves to up the ante on your commitment to God, it might not look like it's necessary to other people, but by all means, honey, do to